Good evening. It is Sunday. How you guys doing? It is the last stream we will do on this guy. I'm pretty sure of that. He's been a blast to paint. We've had loads of fun. But all good things must come to a finish. It better be tonight, 'cause I'm fed up of painting this. Crownblade Viking Des, what is up? Mega Hamster, that's a quality username. Thank you very much, dude. Much appreciated. We've done last stream all of the robe, the little loincloth that he has, all the shades, all the blends, the freehand snake. Not long before that, we did this very cool tribal angry goldfish sort of face. It's meant to be a demon. To be fair, from this angle, it does look like an anglerfish or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? You guys, you eagle-eyed viewers, may notice many commands on the board tonight. A warp shark. That's it, Crownblade. It's a warp shark. Done. That's what it is now. As well as the usual win and mystery commands. More on the mystery later on. We have the exclamation point YouTube command. We are now on YouTube. Now that we've had to go to the less famous music, we figured may as well upload everything to YouTube. Not going to get caught out for breach of YMCA stuff, any of that. So we may as well. Did I see your dog had subbed on YouTube? Yes, I did, sir. Thank you very much. Is that 3 accounts now, or still just the 2? Des has the smartest dog. He does indeed. King Reaper, Voodoo Yaz, Hobo J, and Fish. What up? So that's the YouTube thing. Ideally, over the next few weeks, we'll get a live update of the shows after they've happened. They all go on there. It means that we can start establishing a library of techniques. So if you guys have watched a show in the past and thought, Christ, I wish I knew how Jay did that. I really want to go back and revisit it. Well, currently you can't, but over the next few months, you'll be able to. We will start building up that library of techniques you can just instantly go to, grab from. Maybe you want to know how to paint lenses. We did a magnificent lens tutorial on this guy. Painted all of those lenses. Well, that one is lost now. Forever. It's gone. Maybe if you're Fish, you're like, how the fuck did he paint that red? I know there was green involved. But how the fuck did he paint that red? That one's lost as well. So Fish will have to do this from memory. But soon we will have a complete library of stuff being established on YouTube. We'll try and keep it organized. So when I say, hey, you know, we did a video on that 2-3 months ago, head on over to YouTube. You can find it. It's easy enough for you to find. That's the plan. All we need to do before we start publicizing our YouTube channel is get 100 subscribers. If we get 100 subscribers, I can change the URL from the absolute garbage it is at the moment to Mohawkminiatures, which is obviously what we all want. We're about 30, 35 off. So, follow that link, click the button to subscribe. Don't worry about pressing the bell thing. It's all after a stream. You'll all know because we've had the stream. It's all good. You subscribe. Thank you very much, dude. So, there's 2 more commands on the board. Des has already spotted these. Exclamation point Necron and exclamation point Marine. We've got all the cool shit gonna happen over the next several weeks. Hurt us! What up? Redeem Guide the Raid for 3k. We're not raiding yet. You're a bit early with that. Wait another 2.5 hours and then we're in. We're in on that raid. Not right now. Big Bron, what up, dude? And damn Mike as well. Pixie, I see you there too. So we have 2 commands there, Necron and Marine. When the 9th edition box set comes out, I will get my grubby mitts on it. Please, dear God, at least the day before from my local. Because the night before the release weekend, I will assemble 1 Necron miniature and 1 Marine miniature. Now I've taken 5 of each faction. If we flip across here, if you follow the straw poll, you get to here. What Marine shall we paint? The captain, the lieutenant, because English, the chaplain, the and it's not Judicar, Judicia, I think, Judicia or the Ancient. One of those 5 we will choose. As a community, we will choose that. Conradson, what up? And Haggis Hunter, Crazy Ant, and the Johnson Leader. One of those 5. There's no F in it. There's an F in everything, mate. You could always F something 100% of the time. You guys vote, pick one of those Marines. We will also be painting a Necron. You may notice that the gigantic Canoptech Walker is not on this list. And that made me sad. And the reason it's not on this list is because in 1 weekend's worth of streaming, we will paint both minis that you guys choose in the color schemes that you guys choose. So on the Necron side of things, we've got the Overlord, the Royal Warden, the Plasmancer, the Scorpeth Lord, my favourite, and the Plasmacyte, that cheeky little bastard that he is. So you need to vote over the next week or so till we get more info on 9th on which of the Necrons you want and which of the Marines you want. And whilst that is quite spicy anyway, and we're going to be painting those 2 miniatures, on release weekend, we'll open a raffle. It'll be a little bit like the Chaos Knight, but with a much cheaper entry. The winner, the first winner, gets to choose their faction. Not only will you get the Marine or the Necron that I've painted, I will send you the rest of that faction brand new on sprue. You get the lot. 1 painted mini and a whole host of a starting army for that faction. The second winner gets what's left, which is still another fully painted miniature and a brand new on sprue start to that army. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Let's get the Macho Man in here. But tonight, it's all about this guy. So first thing I'm going to do is going to treat it like a jelly baby and rip its fucking head off. Boink. Now that's out of the way, we can paint the rest of it. On sprue. It's like cool whip. We have so much excitement. We've got Jay going insane, painting 1,600 points of Nurgle next week. I've got an update on that as well. Toenail clipping collection is usually scattered to the 4 winds, straight out in the garden. I clip my nails outdoors. Fuck doing that on the desk. No, just no. Hell no. I have to work at this desk. Say cool. Say whip. Say cool whip. Cool whip. Your dog. Fish. That is disgusting. Why did you have to tell us that? So the Nurgle army. I have spent the last, I shit you not, 2.5 hours basing Plague Bearers. There's 60 in that box up there, all based. There's 30 in this box down here. But because the other night I was thinking, my Plague Toads don't have bases. I need to buy bases for my Plague Toads. I went and had a look to see what size base they have. Well, they need 60mm bases. Oh, shit. Alright, let's go to GW, see if I can buy some on there on their web store. No. No, you can't buy that. Theirs could do, totally. But I'd rather not rush that shoulder pad right into the day. I want finished by that stream. Damn, Brooke! Let's get some exclamation point HW in the stream for this absolute boss. Played some 40k today. But yeah, turns out GW currently don't sell 60mm bases. But do you know what else comes on 60mm bases? And do you know what riders go quite well on top of Toads? Apparently, Plague Drones go really, really well for that. So I decided I needed 6 Plague Drones. And that's when the problem started. I figured the Plague Drones I'd convert into Demon Princes. That's easy. But we ended up buying 2 start collecting kits. So there's a load of Nurglings. There's 2 more Smelly Mens. There's all the frogs, now with riders. And there's another 30 Plague Bearers, which will not be painted this weekend coming, but will be painted at some point. So now, at the weekend, we're not painting 1,600 points of Nurgle. We're painting 1,848 points of Nurgle Demons in one weekend. And not only are we painting them, we're basing them in a literal... I suppose living vegetation is not really the right way to do it, but in a literal garden of Nurgle. A literal garden. We've got water effects gonna happen. We've got actual legit plants, preserved plants gonna happen. Why not round it out? Well, let me tell you now, Greg. I will have 3 Demon Princes made up. I will have Rotigus made up. I will have the Sporepot Scrivener. I will have the Sloppity Barpiper. And because those are all beautiful minis, I'm painting them separately. We're not going to rush through them. Greg is dramatic undead. I like to get to know my audience. Just sneeze on them. They're going to be yellow. I'd have to, like, snort bananas to get that to be the case. So, right. Let's finish off this gun. And then we'll move on. It's going to be the same procedure, kind of multiple times. On the palette we've prepared, we've got some black, some Sotek green, which is blatantly blue, some emerald from Vallejo, and some Meloth white highlight from P3. You're the mighty Greg. I mean, half mighty. The mighty-ish Greg. We'll go with that. So the highlights on the gun casing are what we need to do now. I've got some black, I've got some Sotek green. Let's start working on these. We've done this edge of the barrel. This we're totally fine with. That's kind of staying where it is. Don't know goal for banana snorting, just a suggestion. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Not even like the shitty foam banana sweets. That's just not on the cards. But the Nurgle Demonathon is next weekend. On that weekend, to help keep you guys enthused, and I'm going to need you guys enthused because I'm going to be drawing energy from you like Hulk motherfucking Hogan rattling around the ring trying to keep going, I may or may not have reached out to Sarah at Rival Crafts for even more basing bundles. I got 5 sat just here. I've got 5 more coming. So there's going to be loads of things for you guys to tune in for. Jay Kamehameha! I never watched Dragon Ball, whatever that one was. I know Dan Brook is a massive fan of that though. Now for the gun casing, we're doing the highlight in the same colour we used for the base coat of things like the muzzle and the rocket launcher up there. And the reason we're doing so is because we want to keep this nice and dark. There's a strong contrast to the brightness of certain elements of the guns. Remember, all of this model, we've kept to basically 2 colours. You've either got these kind of bluey green, dark turquoises, or super bright red. And even the white was worked up from turquoise and not grey. So keeping the tone, keeping our colour palette super restricted. One of the reasons for that is that Fish doesn't have to buy quite so many new paints. I mean, that's absolute horseshit. I don't care about Fish buying loads of new paints, but it is what it is. I noticed a big gob of red right there. We'll sort that with some black paint in a bit. Fish can buy all the paints. Won't be about a lot of Sundays, so you may just bring up a mod. It's okay, dude. We can be completely modless. Flying by the seat of our pants. By Sunday, I will be actually delirious. And I really hope to get these guys finished by Sunday, end of stream. I have got Monday and Tuesday off work. So, end of stream Sunday might be like 5 in the morning. It depends on whether we're going to get there or not. The plan is, obviously, smash all this out over the course of simply 1 weekend. But if it needs to be, it needs to be. Last week's quiz it works, but if you use colours round with Magic Eye things, brilliant. The fix was in, man. I don't know what the scientific word is for someone that's colourblind. But this is the 21st century, man. Could have had some massive discrimination rally and a lot of people backing you up. It's terrible. Got 0 out of 10. I only won the quiz by 2 points overall. Nice work, man. Do not be denied. Well done, Chief. So you see we're starting to get some of that detail, just pop out a little bit. Want to keep this dark, like I've said. There will be another highlight to this, but it'll be pretty much probably just plain Sotek blue. It's just Sotek blue mixed with a little bit of Thramar black. Really nice black from P3. Most because discriminating is me because I'm stupid You don't have to be smart to win a quiz. Look at all the people that win on like Channel 5 daytime TV quizzes. That's living proof of that. There was one I used to watch because it would be on when I was in the gym. I cannot for the life remember what it was, but there was this team of people that were right smug-looking bastards. And they'd be on the show every day. So they were like the house team or something, I guess. Guarantee you, at least 4 of those 5 have never ever seen a naked lady. So, I think I've said before, we have an interesting but good working environment. It can be pretty tough at times, but I literally zero right to complain. They give us much to get. Good lad. Eggheads. It might have been eggheads. I don't know. I never really paid attention to it, but sometimes you're on a machine or a treadmill or whatever, and that's the only fucking thing in front of you is that. Right, a little bit on the handle down here. So Inks, how are you getting on with that Carnosaur? Is he fully painted yet? He had an ace quizzing team that all at 60. Yeah, that kind of. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well actually. So look at the difference that tiny highlight has made to this gun in comparison to this one. This one still looks very, very flat. It's very difficult to make out some of the details. This one, they will jump out at you a little bit more. And that's the entire point. Waiting for basing stuff to arrive. What you need is exclamation point tufts in the chat. Get a rival crafts order going on. That's what you need. Or you need to be here at the weekend to win one of 10 basing kits from Rival Crafts. I need to win the 50 quid thing so I can spend it at Rival. Fish, you won this last month, mate. You got no chance. Like, not even close. Oh, bollocks. I just noticed a tiny bit of red on the inside of that gun. Good job we noticed it, though. There we go. Use my frog tape to not be an asshole. What the fuck is frog tape? It's just like duct tape, but it swims underwater. Right. Sotek green, blatantly blue. Keep these highlights nice and small. Green duct tape. Yes. That's another guide the raid for 3k. I didn't realize the channel points I could set things. So I need to find out if there's a way of zeroing out channel points for people. So we can start again with everyone even keel. Because I'm sure there are some funny channel point things we could do. I can almost guarantee there won't be one like make Jay do 10 press ups or something. It just won't be. There we go. See, this is starting to go now. If you tried T-Rex tape, it's nuts. Fairly sure you could legit use it in place of bothering to weld. Wow. Over tape doesn't let paint through it, but it pulls the blade paint over it. Oh! Greg, try Tamiya tape, mate. And there's a company that Hobo J put me onto called Kleenex that do not the fucking Clean Edge. Kleenex is the tissues. Clean Edge tape. The guy I follow who gives you a random game for 80,000 points, but the games are around 40 quid. Damn. That's a lot of viewership to get that. That's pretty good. Good reward for loyal followers. Cleats on the brain. What you been up to? Basing fucking Nurgle demons, assembling Nurgle demons, and painting gold. Literally all I've done today is paint gold highlights on Necrons, assemble Nurglings and the Riders and the Pox Bringers, and throw pumice on everything. Oh, pumice and the Rival Crafts red sand. This stuff. I fucking love this stuff. Their red desert sand is amazing. Just the grain is so small. It's fantastic. If it's the tape, mate, then don't worry too much about it. Like, chuck it in the links chat or whatever in Discord if you want. That's fair. Nurgle Weekend stream hour 21 after eliminating 2/3 of his audience in the airbrush incident. Wow. Jay has finally settled down again, mumbling soothingly to the models as he applies paint, naming the individual plague bearers and imbuing each with personalities and a place in the army. Possibly, by that point, also imbuing them with diseases. So... Oh, for that, just stick it in the whip, mate. Alright, let's get a little highlight around this. Whatever this is meant to be on the gun seems to serve no actual purpose, but it's just there. You know, it's been really miserable all day today. We've had loads of rain. And about an hour before the stream, sun comes out. Baking hot now. Stupidly humid. And not a particularly comfortable environment. Never mind. So don't forget, guys, exclamation point Necron, exclamation point Marine. Go and vote on what you think we should be painting and giving away on that 9th Ed release stream we're going to do. Still sorting out the logistics for things like tickets and so on and so forth. But it's going to be done in a similar way to the way the Chaos Knight was, for those of you who are around for that. There's a couple of winners of that in the chat, I think. The Bueno, nice try, man. Wrong month. There might be an October this year. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, Fish, you've got the much better version. We've got definitely the wrong way around down here. So let's get around this trigger. See, really helps to accentuate the gun. Helps bring out all the little bits of detail. The not gems. And again, I think that having this limited colour palette really helps make the red the reddest red it could be. It's exaggerated because it's the only part of the model that doesn't share the colours of its background. Now, when we started painting the model, we talked a lot about our goal, our aim for the model, what we wanted it to achieve with our paint job. And that was one of the two things. The other was, and this took place essentially while we began the construction, we wanted the eyes of the person viewing our mini, looking at our hard work, to be taken on a path around the model. And we put a start at the base. That's why we've got that lovely, very eye-catching blue-green down there. Sith, what up, dude? If you were to start here, two things will draw their eye up the model. The first is obviously the banner. It's vertical, it's very eye-catching with that white symbol. But also the gems, the way we've painted the gems, we've got one on each foot to help bring in a border, sort of here. We've then wound them around the mini, so it's on the back of this leg, on the thigh there, up across the chest, and then finishing on these fins at the back. With the head in there, the missile launcher framing it, you should have something that looks really, really good. Any ideas for making cold coloured bones? You kind of want greys rather than bone. Generally, when things are cold, they look desaturated. Might even be a real thing, like a lack of humidity in the air. Normally cold air is carries less humidity than warm air. So maybe it's like a legitimate, like your eyes see things slightly differently. If you look up any sort of documentaries or movies or whatever shot in really cold countries or like the Antarctic or whatever, everything always looks a little bit grey. And in winter as well, everything always feels a little bit grey. So I'd go with grey bones. If you want cold bones, go grey bones. As soon as you put like bone colours on it, it becomes warm. Hey, Cold! Getting that sub in. Thank you very much, dude. You will get your meeps. Of course, they're going to be real important in 16 days' time. 16 days. Just over 2 weeks before exclamation point win, exclamation point mystery become a real thing. We're going to unveil the second of our minis in the giveaway tonight. It's going to take place in about 25 minutes. You already know what the first one is. There are a couple of excited people that watch the stream regularly, I know, because of the first one. I think it's a brilliant prize. And I really like the second one as well. I think it's one of the cooler models from GW over the last few years. Mostly because of what the model is armed with. And then I'm going to leave that for now. You guys imagine what that might be. Shade in. This one we're not doing a highlight so much as we are putting down some glazes on the Shuriken like rail. This is the same way we painted the front end of our scatter laser. A rotary flensing saw. No, but that sounds horrendous. That's the Necromunda dudes, right? I don't know what they're called. The ones that they put in against the Arbites. No worries, dude. See you in a bit. So, a couple of quick glazes. I'm going to build this up much brighter than it currently is. But we want to do so in a controlled fashion. We don't want to have a massive step change, basically. So all the glaze is thin paint. You can thin it with pretty much anything you want. I've just used water. More than frequently, that is enough. A genius did a cult with a stop sign. No, that's fucking cool. That is fucking cool. That's the hypermorphs in the units. Oh, Hertz is guessing the Abominant. Did tell you guys that the giveaway prizes have all resided in this area. All of them have resided in this area. You got one in the backlog. Nice. So he was there earlier on today, or she. It's not there now. Doesn't mean that the box isn't, or the clam pack, or anything else. But something from there, no longer on the shelf anymore. So we're going to do both of these shuriken catapults at the same time. You may as well, they're kind of tiny. And then you can finish off with that missile launcher. Now once that's done, we've got maybe a very small amount of work to do on the base. We're probably not going to make any weathering powders for it. I'm liking the very clean look that we've got there. But I want to do something just to give it a little bit more. It wasn't there, but isn't anymore. So a relic that the Blood Raven stole. Damn it, you found out. We've been rumbled, lads. Vikings onto us. Alright. I'm going to take some of that Sotek green, which is blatantly blue, and mix it with some of our emerald, which is definitely green. And again, create a glaze off of that and start building those highlights up. Oh, only downside to having to use YouTube for the free-to-play music. Abominant got power sledgehammer. The Abominant does have a power sledgehammer. I mean, if you had a power weapon in 40k, what would it be? If you create any weapon as a power weapon, what would you have? Because I think a power sledgehammer is pretty effing epic. I can't think of much thing as cooler than that. Maybe a power chair. So like the wrestling steel chair, but with power version. Crownblade, you meant to see a therapist about that sore fascination you have. Power stop sign. I was going to go light bone with the base, but I realise what you've done. I think bone would have been much worse in hindsight. Yes. Basically. That sounded extremely dismissive, but if you do bone, it works really well with the red already. And so as a consequence, you don't really get any contrast, you get a complement. Maybe that's what you want, but I love this high contrast style of painting, so. Well, I didn't think it would have been unpowered, so I figured you'd plug it in and it would have like Black & Decker written on the side, to be honest, Crownblade, so, you know. You know, I know a few people have had a bit of a moment about the music. And obviously the fact we can't play the cool tunes like we used to. It's fine. I support what's happened. I wish it hadn't, don't get me wrong, but it's all good. But some of the music we've got, really, really cool. This definitely sounds like something that would be in a video game I've played. just listening to you talk about the contrast. I've never done it personally, but now I've seen it. I love it. Definitely a carry across the rest. Did the same thing with the Custodes. So on their bases, I had to talk Akuno into allowing me to paint one green. He was very unsure about it to begin with. As soon as it went down, the model went on. He's like, sold. You do you. Does sound very quick, like, yes. This definitely would have been an ID game from back in the day. So again, a couple more passes with that glaze. Remember, glaze is super thin paint, which means that when you put the first layer down, it's not going to get complete coverage. It's not going to cover up entirely everything that was underneath it. If it does, what you've got is paint and not a glaze. You need to thin it more. What that means for us as artists is, and some people look at that quality and go, yeah, but it means you've got to paint like 7 coats. Like, why would I bother? Well, when you're doing something like this, it means that you can get one pass down that's a little bit thicker in terms of width, not depth, that would be very translucent, and then you can go back and paint another slightly thinner one, which again would be very translucent. What I will do is it will start building up thicknesses the thinner your line is, so you then get that transition. It's a bold set of colours, man, and it's the sort of thing that I do a lot because I love the final result. But I think I literally just grabbed one on the fly as well. There was no real thought went into it at the beginning when we started looking at the colour palette. I just knew I wanted it to be a contrasting colour. I knew it had to be a heavy contrast to handle the red. Didn't want to do blue, didn't want to do green, and this was the obvious choice then in the middle of those two. Just popping another glaze down over that, just to help that transition along a little bit. There you go. Been watching a lot of a guy called Trovarian painting recently. Properly into watching his stuff. That guy can paint like nobody's business. He's heavier than Metal Marines. Fucking sick. And he does a lot of work with glazes because he, from what I can see, doesn't use an airbrush almost at all in his painting for YouTube. And watching a guy put down like 10 layers of yellow to get an Imperial Fist to look picture perfect is something else. But once I finish the Fire Prism and Bobby G, I'm going to build and paint one of these and chuck in the whip, see what I can do. Nice, man. Wait till you get this one to you, so you've got him there for reference. And I know you're red-green colourblind, but just check the bottle, because if he ends up coming out green, then he's not going to match anything else. Right. Next, going to build that up a little bit more. We've got more emerald going in now. Coming slightly more into that green colour. And then after this, we'll have one additional highlight with a little bit of bone thrown in. And you see we've done a little of that on the tip of the scatter laser. Just the tip. Just to really make that jump out at you. So this is not going to be too much of an edge highlight. We're still keeping this relatively thin, relatively glazy, just to get that final part of the transition pulled out. And then we will do a second pass, but much more as a traditional edge highlight. Once that's gone down, like I said, it'll be time for those bone highlights to really give us some nice poppy bits out there at the end. So once we finish this guy this evening, we're going to carry on painting our Imperial Fist. Shouldn't be too much time left on this guy. There's not a lot left to do. Like I said, I do want to maybe look at something on the base. See if we can find any more bits of interest there. So we can get a little gem on this. But, right, let's get a more edge highlight now. So we're just adding a little bit more emerald green to thicken back up our glaze. Let's really try and snap this in just to the edges. So streams for the rest of this week. This is Sunday. So tomorrow, Monday night, is Hellstorm Hobby Night. So myself and Mikey, and I'm going to be laying down the foundation for a absolute metric fuck ton of OSL. So mentioned it several times. We've got a commission to do some Necron Doomsday arcs, which have been at times less than fun. Got everything edge highlighted. So we've done all the golds, all the silvers on everything. We've done the bone on absolutely everything, including battle damage. Don't get me wrong, I'm really liking the way they've turned out. Night T, thank you very much for that follow. Got a lot of purple to throw down here, so things like this crystal ball, these panels will be purple. Some of the buttons on the dashboard will be purple. The back of this dude's chair will be purple. The little glowy sphere, these little sticks, loads and loads of purple to lay down. And do all of that on the Hellstorm Hobby stream. So that's tomorrow night from 6. Then, Tuesday night, we're of course going to be painting that OSL. It's going to be glorious, man. Purple OSL looks super sick, especially against bone and gold. It just works so well. So well. So we've got that to look forward to. Hopefully, that means that Thursday night, we can either be looking at doing some more painting work on these guys, because by then I may have got the rest of the kit sorted out. Those of you that watched the Hellstorm stream maybe 3 weeks ago was the last time Mikey and I streamed. You would have seen me creating some like half of an immortal, basically. And then that immortal was suspended on some cables that we made using green stuff and paper clips. And that immortal, that little bit of kit, is going to be the front of... sorry, instead of the guns being where they were on the Doomsday Arcs, that Necron Immortal was going to be at the back of the Doomsday Arc, sort of floating up. And then at the front of the Doomsday Arc, we've got some Tombblade weapons to make sure we ended up with all of the Gorse weaponry, because my client didn't like the guns down the side. So normally on this, the sort of rib cage part of the Mini, where this plastic rod is, you'd have armatures that are attached to these little holes that stick out with a Gorse gun of some sort on. Alright. What we've done instead is we put this plastic rod in here. That's going to be nicely OSL'd in purple. And then at the very front, we're going to have an armature with 2 sets of Ghost Blasters. Got the Doomsday Gun in the middle. And at the back of this, just sort of rising up out of it, will be 2 Necron Immortals. But just the top half of them, they've been wired into the machine, basically. I think that's going to look fucking cool. So hopefully Thursday we can look at doing that. If not, if we're not quite ready, then to get us in the mood for painting Nurgle all weekend, and possibly even into Monday without sleep, we'll do some more work on this guy, on Nurgle Champion. This is Necrosius the Undying, a conversion for Ben, my housemate. Got loads left to do on him, so that could be cool as well. And then, of course, the weekend, starting at 10 a.m. UK time, Saturday morning. Dear God, help me. Finishing whenever we get day one's work done. Day one's work, by the way, finishes with a gloss varnish, which means that we need to get every part of the model base coated by that point. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We've got airbrushing to do for undershades, for highlights. We've then got to paint every single bit of like guts that are hanging out. A couple of the boils, not all of them, but just a few here and there. The eyes. All manner of shit to paint on those. We've got metallics to do. And then by the end of all of that day, we then need to gloss varnish. I'm not even kidding here. I wish I was. I so wish I was. To gloss varnish 118 minis. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sad as it sounds, the taste of paint after a brush wash depends on how long the water's been sat there for. I know when it's time to change my brush water by the taste of the brush, put it that way. You shouldn't eat your brushes. You shouldn't eat the paint. It's a habit I got into about 25 odd years or so ago. You try breaking that when you're a fucking brush licker. That's not an easy habit to break. I reckon it's probably easier to kick a heroin habit than it is to kick licking your fucking paintbrush. Because with this, you understand there's a rationale, there's an actual logical reason as to why you're doing it. Got enough gloss varnish? That's actually a good question. Let me just Amazon Prime some of that. I'm not sure. We might not. Did they even sell it on Amazon Prime? Please, for the love of all that's holy, get this on Prime. Vallejo polyurethane gloss varnish. Yes, it's on Prime. Next day delivery. I'm glad you said that, man. Buy now. Place order. There you go. Whew! Thank fuck. I know I've got enough thinner. I know I've got enough primer. I found an extra bottle of Flow Improver in the drawer the other day. I'm like, well, where did that come from? So we had all of that. We were covered on that. But good shout on that gloss varnish. Who knows, right? It's not like it's got an expiry date. It'll last. Well done, Crownblade. My subscription of Masochism Monthly ran out last week, but I can watch Jay torture himself this weekend. Yeah, basically. It's when we get into like the very early hours of Monday morning that I'm probably gonna Probably going to lose it. Saturday, like I said, we've got to go until all of that's finished. But I still intend to start at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. So if that takes me till 3 a.m., that takes me till 3 a.m. And then, you know, we'll see what happens after that point. Right, back to shading in. Getting some highlights down on the surround for the weapons. That was a little bit thick. I think I used the wrong colour there. Yeah, we did. That was a second highlight just laid down by accident. There you go. 1 a.m. Monday, can't wait. Dude. So Sunday stream, like I said, is get everything base coated. There's going to be a fuck ton of airbrush work to do. And then a lot of brush work. Like getting all of the little details just blocked in. And we're not looking to win Golden Demon with this army. And I'm almost certainly not going to win any Best Painted awards with it. Until I get to the sort of highlighting stage on the minis themselves, which I would like to do on stream, but we'll see how far we get, essentially. But each of the minis will have brushed highlights. They will have shaded recesses using oil washing techniques, as well as obviously some Zenithal style highlighting through the airbrush. There's going to be a lot of variation on their skin tone, but it's not like we're layering everything up carefully on each one of 15 Nurglings and 90 Plague Bearers. We'll do brushed highlights as long as we get the time. They'll be centered almost entirely on the face, shoulders and fists of each one. The Sunday stream is going to be get all the oils down in the morning, all the oils off by say mid-afternoon that I need to remove, and then start on the bases, because that's going to take a lot of time. We've got scatter to put on the bases. That's going to be a very realistic forest floor like scatter. We've got water effects. We've got actual legit plants. Then we've got basing powders, like weathering pigments to put down. So there is a lot going on these bases. That's what's going to help the model look its absolute best. And we're not going to stop until all of that's done. Which is why I booked Tuesday off as well. We've bought lots of things to help us out throughout all this. I bought one of those UV lamps that people go to a nail salon and get a hand tan under, so we can help dry the super fast, quick drying UV resin. Would you say it's worth getting this GL75 metallic starting out, or just another brand? I hear they're some of the best. Just go for them, dude. Dad and Lad 40k, thank you for that follow and welcome to the stream. I love the Scale 75 metallics, mate. For golds especially, that is pretty much all I use. A lot of people will recommend the Vallejo metal color metallics. I've not used them. Jake, if you're still here in the chat, I know you have. You're in love with the silver from that line. I saw the gold put down on something recently. It's pretty epic. But I believe they are alcohol based rather than being acrylic. So there's a little bit of extra work and care that you need to exhibit when working with them. They are acrylic, Do they do a separate line of alcohol ones then? Because the guy I was talking to was talking about an alcohol metallic from Vallejo. So he was talking about using the metallic gold, and he doesn't actually prime the model. Liquid color, that's the one. Yeah, you don't even need to prime the model essentially for that, for the alcohol-based gold. He just puts it straight over grey plastic, and damn, it's a hell of a gold. It looks like the mini's actually been sculpted from that gold. So, powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff. So I nearly got the first set of highlights done on both the Shuriken cannon bolts. Did we ever name this guy? Fish, I don't think we named him. We were talking about like Mike Tyson style names because he's got his half face tattoo. Miss my crooning. No, nobody actually misses my crooning. You definitely need psychological help now. Could have missed the good old days where I could actually sing. What's the playlist? It is a load of free-to-use music that I found trolling YouTube. So I couldn't tell you. So, like, nice. I wouldn't necessarily buy all the metallic sets, but I mean, obviously, don't let me stop you if you're going to. However, if you're UK-based, ! Element in the chat. Get the Element Games affiliate link and the double crystals code. Help a brother out. But certainly the ones that I would suggest are their Viking Gold, Dwarf Gold, Necro Gold. Like, those three are epic. Absolutely epic. Unlucky Twilight. Then Bruce, because the life-size model shark they used when filming Jaws called Bruce. Elven Gold is such a pain in the proverbials to use, though. That's the problem, because it's so thin. You're looking at like the chitin that occasionally pops up in here. The shoulder pad trim on the red shoulder was painted using that, and it was, I'm not shitting you, 13 coats of paint to get a smooth finish. Didn't they call it the floating turd? I don't know, but we're not calling this mini the floating turd. That's for damn sure. That's just a no. Fair. For gold highlights these days, you guys have seen me do it a lot, but I tend to just mix gold with silver. Apply silver till it just starts to look a bit more like a silver than a gold. Then immediately back off. Add a little bit more gold in to bring it back, and then you've got the brightest version of that gold that you could have. That's your natural highlight right there. I use that so much, I actually ended up mixing a bottle of silver and gold paint together, just so I've always got that highlight on deck. Love it. So that blue's starting to come out a lot more. This guy's looking sick. I just decided though that I don't really like one of the highlights in its main gun. So before I forget, I'm going to fix it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of water and thin down some of our black paint that we've got. Get it to not quite a glaze. Scale Silvers, I've got their speed metal, which I frankly absolutely love for doing true metallic metal through an airbrush. It's so good for that. It's what we did all of the silver highlights on the Necrons with as well, and it really pops. There you go. Just want to back that highlight off a little bit, help retain a bit of that curvature. You can always do that, guys. If you go a little bit too far with a highlight, if you make a line a little bit too thick, whatever it is that you've done, you want to take back. Because we use paint that's so thin almost all the time here, you've always got the option of just painting over it. No need to strip models for just a quick change like that. And if you do end up with something that's got texture on it because you've painted over it, let me show you something. Somewhere on one of these, there's a patch of that where the airbrush just got away from me a little bit. Oh, even better. Even better. So even if you end up doing something, you're like, ah, Christ, that was wrong. Turn it into battle damage. You see this black line that comes in just here and then goes down. You guys can see that? It looks like scratched paint. It isn't scratched paint. When I was getting the oils off of this part of the model, one of the hairs from the cotton bud that had picked up a load of oil ended up coming off the cotton bud and sticking on the surface. And I didn't notice that when I cleaned the model afterwards. So when I varnished the model, it welded it to the surface. So that isn't a bit of paint, or it is a bit of paint, but it's a bit of paint that's taken a extremely fine nylon thread from a cotton bud, or cotton thread rather, I should say, that we just hidden with a little bit of battle damage. There you go. That's disgusting. But as much as I support what you're saying, let's please not have any of that in the chat. Like, different topic of discussion. I've seen a lot of horrible shit in the hobby recently that sort of come to light through various different groups, whether it be like Discord or Facebook or whatever. That sort of thing has no place in human society, let alone anything to do with our hobby of toy soldiers. So let's move on. Go a little bit further. Totally understand, man. Are you excited by the new Lumineth army? No. Sorry. Don't really do Sigma stuff. And whilst I love a lot of the Sigma models, I think the majority of the elf stuff just looks abysmal. It doesn't float my boat. For anyone that loves it, crack on. But for me, it's just not my bag. Pearl Jam, what up, brother? How you doing? Space Cat, I don't even... Actually, the one model that I do like is the big fucking Minotaur thing. I just don't think that belongs in an elf army. But I understand why they've done it. It's the Spirit of the Mountain. Which makes sense. You know, I can't be mad about that. But I'm not sold on the models, mate. Even the heroes, like the centerpiece models, look a bit naff. But that's only my opinion. It's my I don't like the aesthetics for it. The new Marine stuff, I love all of the new stuff that they've announced for 9th, with one or two glaring exceptions. The first one is the Space Marine go-kart, because that looks absolute dog shit. I'm not sure how far around the office the crack pipe had gotten by that point, but the person that made that decision had just taken a massive hit. Like, absolutely crazy idea putting that out. I don't get it. And the other thing I don't like, and I immediately saw this when they brought it up, for those of you used to play, well, God, most of you aren't even that old. Some of you may remember Games Workshop having a partnership with MB, which was a games company based in the UK, that created Hero Quest and a game called Space Hulk. And Space Hulk was amazing. I loved that game. That was the first ever Necron appearance. And I had the Dreadnought. Oh, was it Project Dreadnought? It was like an expansion for it. And in that expansion, one of the units the Marines got, and bear in mind it was all like coloured plastics, you had like a red team, a blue team, a yellow team. It was all just yellow Marines, red Marines, blue Marines. So obviously they were the respective chapters. Scott222, thank you for the follow. Mission Dreadnought, that's it. The Tarantula turret, which was a dude stood like this in front of a very boxy turret with two las cannons on it. And it's nice to see that a design that was created about 30 fucking years ago is about to come out at some point later on this year with almost no real changes. I think that, and I think the Space Marine go-kart are horrible. Maybe in person they'll look better, but fuck me sideways, they're gopping. Just so bad. You know that phone call you get from work on a Friday evening? That's the call that approved the go-kart. Yes, I'm getting pissed, now go away. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm out. Just, oh, fuck it, whatever. Yes, it's fine. What have I done? Oh, I don't care. It's that. Those I don't like. The stuff in the box. Oh my god. There is some amazing sculpts in that box. The only one that I'm not 100% sold on is the captain. In the whatever armor. Smithy! What up, dude? The bike should have come out with scars. Yeah, I agree, but who knows, right? Maybe they made a decision to put them in the box earlier than that. Remember, this box has been in production for a long time. The shipment of rulebooks arrived at GWHQ before lockdown. Also, just resubbed and it hasn't popped up. Really? Bits. Did you celebrate the sub? Check your meeps, dude. See if it's registered it. Because it might not have done. No, it hasn't. Okay, so you've subbed. The bot shit the bed. Let me sort you out. Subscribers. Why can't you search this? Subscribe that. That's just the first subscription. That's annoying. Oh no, 11th to 6th. Yeah, that's still the first subscription. That's dumb. Let me just give you your points. Fuck it. We trust you, man. Smithy. There it is! Yeah. And the bot's just giving you your meeps as well. So I didn't get there. Wait. Have you changed your accounts? Did you go from Smithy Streams to Smithy Z Streams? Or is that two different people? Huh. Well, that's amazing. Because there's a Smithy Streams. Spelled exactly the same, just missing that middle Z. And then there's you with that middle Z. Although that guy has watched 0 hours of the show, but somehow has 4,000 meeps. I'm guessing at some point you might have done. So what I'll do is I'll just zero him out and add him to you. 4630. No, 7630. There you go, mate. You're sorted. That was weird. That was super weird. But yes, marine stuff. The captain, I don't really like his pose because he's very static, and the rest of the marines look really interesting. Much more. Yes, they do. Cold. Like this is blatantly Streets of Rage. But I love the chaplain. The Judicia is amazing. The lieutenant looks awesome with that super old pistol. That just looks cool. Neo Volkite. I mean, alright, you can call it that if you want. But he looks cool. The Ancient looks absolutely amazing. I love that banner. Chaplain, man. The chaplain is so good. So good. Hey, Lordy, it's all good, dude. Totally good. If there's anything we can ever help out with, man, just pop in and shout, yeah? Even if it's just moral support. Also, though, Lordy, don't forget, if you've missed a stream, and you think, oh, I wonder what Jay was doing in the night. Exclamation point YouTube. Let's get everyone, please, for the love of all that's holy, please go there and sub on YouTube. Hashtag please sub. Hashtag stealing Mikey's hashtags. Because we're going to start putting every single stream up on YouTube after we finished. The last stream from Thursday night is already up there. So if you wanted to know how to paint this banner that we did, and the freehand and all that there, go watch that. There you go. But either way, dude, it's great to see you. Right, well, we passed 10 o'clock 20 minutes ago, and nobody raised a stink about not knowing what the next mini in the mystery giveaway is. So I'm going to finish off painting this Shuriken Catapult, and then I'll let you guys know. We already know that the first mini you can choose from this month to have painted by me in a colour scheme of your choice and shipped to you anywhere in the world completely free. Completely free. It's the Big Bad Wolf. Ragnar Blackmane. Primaris Edition. Crossed the Rubicon. And he's now definitely the Big Bad Wolf. He's going to huff and puff and exterminate your house. I think that's as far as I can stretch that metaphor. We're done on that one now. But that's the first of 3. Going to unveil a second one tonight. And the third one, the mystery prize, which is coming on next weekend stream, when I am suffering from delirium from painting Nurgle Demons for very possibly, by that point, up to 35 hours. It's going to be savage. It's going to be savage. That's coming soon. That's coming soon. Could be anything in that box. Literally anything. As long as it fits in the box, it could be in the box. It's the box of wonder, the box of holding, the box of, I won't say many things because there's going to be one mini and that's it. Don't be greedy now, folks. But this was the thing that was in the mystery box for last month's streams. This has turned into quite an epic painting project. Loads of freehand, loads of different ways of painting the same old colours, loads of work on colour theory, loads of work on placement of colours for the best effect. Box of many bits. Could be bits. May not be an entirely assembled model at that point. Right, let's put this guy's head back on and see where we're at. There you go. So, that's him so far. All we've got left to do is a little bit of something down here on the base. And that missile launcher. That's it. This guy is looking sick. Now we finally sorted the camera right. You can actually see the red in the glorious set of very natural shades that it is. It's cracking. One proper chuffed fish. It's not like a puffer fish. Who knows? Who knows how fish works? Right, so like I said, an exclamation point mystery, exclamation point win for a little bit extra info. This was the first mini in the giveaway. If you are the lucky subscriber on the end of the month's stream, that is Tuesday the 30th of June, if you are the lucky subscriber to win the painted mini giveaway, you could choose to have Ragnar Blackmane painted in a colour scheme of your choice. It doesn't need to be Space Wolves. It could be your own custom Doggo chapter. Doesn't matter. It could be bright pink, but please, for the love of God, don't make me paint that. Because no one wants to see that at all. Ever. Just no. Really, really no. Do that day. What up? So that is the first of the three. There's always, of course, that £50 hobby voucher up for grabs. You will need your meeps for that. Rocky! Love you, brother. Hope you're doing alright. The second mini in the contest has, I feel, one of the coolest weapons in 40k. I think so. It's the GSC Abominant, and I'm not hiding the price tag at all. Totally am. Everyone knows how much these cost. I love this guy. I think this is an epic sculpt. This kind of Siamese conjoined twin face he's got going on. This little dude is amazing. I love this guy. We got loads of flesh tones on this, which is going to be very, very different, of course, to the straight up armor panels on this guy. So I figured we'd have a change. What if you want the Minotaur? You'll have to wait for it to come back into rotation, man. But the GSC Abominant is the second of the three. Alternatively, Rock, that Minotaur might be in the mystery box. Who knows? Who knows? You could win this guy. You could win this guy. Or the mystery box could could be something from the Shelves of Wonder. Windy Massive! How you doing, brother? Thank you for that, host. Let's see what we've got on the shelf. We've got Harlequins. We've got limited edition Terminator Chaplains. We've got Armigger Halverins. We've got some Warcry minis, the Mind Stealer Spheranx. We've got the Christmas green, red Gobbo, not green Gobbo, obviously. We've got Blood Bowl minis, Night Vault minis, Beastgrave minis, more Sigmar shit. We've got some tag. There's a commander hidden behind that. Just behind this box, tag commander. There are two of them, in fact. More Eldar. Buried down there is a load of shit that I haven't looked at in like 9 months easy. Sisters of Silence, Custodes, 30k miniatures, so 40k Nurgle, loads of stuff. Loads of stuff. Windy, this is the mystery box. Every month we have these giveaways. You have that £50 hobby voucher, exclamation point win for more info, and the mystery prize. This month's mystery prize we've already unveiled. You could win Ragnar Blackmane. The next one is the GSC Abominant. You could win either of these two. Winner's choice, or you could choose the mystery box, which will contain something from here. You don't know what yet, though. I know what. I've seen the future. It's true. This is the present, though, and let's go right back to it. One spare Nurgling. There is one or two spare Nurglings. I now have single Nurglings, and I don't even mean like the flash ones, like the the sassy one and all that sort of stuff. I just mean a Nurgling. But it could be that. Could just be a Nurgling. Could be you win a piece of scenery. Could be you win a Scarab. A single Necron Scarab. That's it. Enter at end of the month. Absolutely, mate. The last stream of the month. Tuesday the 30th. You need to be here for that one day. If you're not, too late. You've missed it. But if you are, make sure you saved up your meeps. Make sure you come ready with a winning attitude. You AOS trees. I've got some AOS. Well, I've got some trees. I've got 2 Nurgle trees. Could be one of those. Could be one of those. Right, missile launcher time. Let's do the fun bit first. Or should we save that? No, I just made this a glaze. We've kind of got to do that now. Okay. We're on to glazing and missile launcher. And we need a little brighter than that still. Nice and thin. So the reason we're using glazes here is because we can. Don't need to get the airbrush out for this. Do this by hand. Done everything else like this by hand. It's nice to use some of the old school ways of painting every now and again. The first thing we're going to do is just going to sketch it in. So it's going to look rough. It's going to look very bad from a point of view of transitions and so on. And we're not too worried about getting paint into these recesses. We can go back and just block those in later on before we do our final highlights. We're going to come all the way down to nearly the bottom of the missile launcher, to the bulb itself. We're going to go back through to almost that recess. So all of this getting painted. And you'll notice the brush is always going in one direction for our brush strokes. There is a reason for this. Now I've said this many times, so somebody in the chat will know why this is a thing. Why do we do it? What's the point? I keep making a big deal out of it, so you'd hope there's a point. Can anyone tell me what that point is? Quiet chat so far. The point of the brush, not quite. Greg, you've got it, mate. Dragging the glaze. So start is darkest and end of the drag is brightest. So when you apply paint to a model, all manner of things that happen to us in everyday life, the laws of physics, interact with you and your model. One of them is what we describe as surface tension. Surface tension is, for those that don't know, easily demonstrated by getting a glass of water and filling it right up to the top. And I don't mean to the top of the glass, I mean till you get that ever so slightly convex sort of top to it. What that is, that's each individual molecule of water just having enough friction with the one next to it to make it hold on to it. So what that means for you when you're painting is that when you put your brush on the model, you start applying paint. When you take your brush off the model, there's those molecules of paint on the surface that are like, oh no, we're going to hold on to our friend here. They're still on your brush. And they will pull a little bit of paint off of your brush. So in practice, what this really means for you as a painter is that you need to be very careful, especially when glazing, when the paint is at its thinnest and is more likely to be pulled from your brush onto the model. You need to make sure that your brush strokes all go in the correct direction, so that the point that you lift your brush off, i.e. here at the end of the missile, is where the thickest area of paint is. So it's not always bright and dark, but it's the amount of glaze that you put on. You could be glazing in shadows, you then obviously draw your brush towards the darkest part of the model. When you're glazing highlights, draw it to the lightest part of the model. If you're just glazing over an area to tint an area, you've got to be very careful. It might be, for instance, that you would just try to change the hue on something. Maybe you've got some metallics down and you decided, you know what, I want to give this more of a fantastical appearance. I want to make his sword look magical. So we're going to glaze some blue in over the sword. All of these things require you to be very careful with how you take your brush off the model to stop it ruining a transition. If we look at the instance of a power sword, you've seen me airbrush those quite a few times on the channel. Now, we've done a lot of power swords through the airbrush because it's a very quick, efficient, effective way of getting a power sword done. We did the Dark Angels we did recently. Did their power swords blue on the channel. We did the amazing, absolutely amazing Telemon sword. God, I wish we'd kept that one. Oh, that was one of my favourite streams. If we'd managed to keep that one. So if we had YouTube back in the day, that would live on. But it doesn't. When you're painting a power sword by hand, you would normally do that with glazes. If you've got a sword that dips in and out of colour, somewhere there's that light and then dark and then light and then dark, and you're glazing all those together, you might find yourself doing glazing in different directions all the time just to be sure you're hitting the highlights and the shadows in the right places, and you may even find yourself just subtly manipulating the little dot of paint that gets left when your brush comes off the model. I'll see if I can get a shot of that for you now. So let's really load the brush up, and that's Normally when you see this happen in a big way, it's because there's too much paint on the brush. But I'm going to try and do this on purpose for you now. So we put the paintbrush on, we take it off. See that blob of paint right there? You can just sort of wick it away and move it back. It might be, though, like I was just saying, that you want to pop that blob in a specific place. Maybe you're after a specular highlight. So specular highlight is just like a dot. So you put your brush down, lift it off to allow that dot to be in place, and then sort of click and drag, essentially, to get it to the point you want it to be. Difficult to film, but I think you can just about see that. The radiator, no manipulate, radiator is set every day. Oh, you mean iron? Dear oh dear. Right, this is the third or fourth layer of glaze that we've put on. The colour hasn't changed. Still using the same paint. But notice how we're now getting to a very nice solid blue. All I have changed is how far down the missile launcher sort of bulb we go. So you can see right here there's a few bits of the transition that aren't so smooth. That's totally fine. We could blend them out if we wanted to by thinning this down even more and just painting more and more and more glazes. But this is the last night that we're painting this guy. We are at 20 to 11 now, so we're running out of time to get this guy done. Still got one thing I want to do to his base as well. And before I go to bed tonight, I have to base 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. I have to base on 28 Nurgle miniatures. Yay! I'll show you a couple. So what we've done, this is all going to still be wet. On some of them, we've created like a crater. And ignore the green. This is just getting fucking undercoated over. It ain't going to matter. This is the Wraithbone spray in a very, very, very thin down contrast green that someone applied to these. We've got a few we've got in craters. We've got a few that are just sort of flat. And then a couple that have got like smaller craters just on their base. So like this guy, for instance. Here you go, you see he's got that explosion of earth there. He's always going to add a load of texture to the base for Nurgle's Garden. All we've put on there is some pumice from Vallejo. Use their Dark Earth, which is my favourite go-to pumice for almost anything. And then I got some of Rival Crafts Red Canyon Sand, is it? Red Desert Sand. I love this. It's super, super fine sand. Gives a really nice texture to the base. That goes on top of it afterwards. And it just gets scattered on there. And the pumice will help hold that in place. Right. That was the last glaze of this blue. Now I'm going to mix in a little bit more emerald. In fact, just some emerald. We've got none in this at the moment. But first, instead of glazing this highlight in, now we've got a smaller object where it's all about contrast and less about smoothness. When you get some highlights in on these not gems. Could you imagine being a spirit stone in a missile launcher? Like, you've spent your entire life, I don't know, being a potter or a baker or something. You get called off to war as your guardian self. You know, got to get your conscription done. Off you go. You're thinking, right, cool, we're gonna go and see the shit, see the galaxy. First day out, get brutally murdered. Alright, it's the grim dark of the 41st millennium. That's fine. Your spirit stone picks up your soul, and then some complete dickhead shoves you into a missile launcher. Like, and you'd be one of, at this point, 3 for the firing end, 1 of 3 for the barrel part, 3 for the sight, and 4 for whatever the fuck this thing at the back is. Better than Crotchstone. That's right. This was a bad Eldar. Right here. Thank God that wasn't paint on there. Yeah. These two, they were bad Dari. No one liked them. Alright, getting a graze. Wow. Getting a glaze with some emerald mixed in. Next set of highlights. So the first one goes almost all the way back. And again, draws all of that paint forwards. Don't let it pull in the recesses. Whilst it's very thin paint, and most of that was water, we still don't necessarily want the residue in there. This is going to be something that we end up going back and darkening down. So let's make our lives a lot easier than we would otherwise find it by just stopping that from pooling. Okay, let's work on this side. Yeah, how bad a Guardian would you need to be to end up as the Winky Stone? It's going to be pretty rough, that, isn't it? Right, next highlight. And this will slowly start to introduce the green. And then once we've got enough of that introduced, we can start working quite so thin. And just sort of knock it up a notch, get more of that emerald in. Start working up to something like this. And at that point, what we can start doing is, rather than glazing the entire thing, just be a little bit more selective with it. So just make it up a little bit more glaze. Empowered teabagging. Wow. D-weapon platform pilot that can't hit shit or only other Guardians. Yeah, it was involved in a green on green. I think that's a definite. You can be on the Crotchstone. You've been a bad Guardian. Guess where you're going? Not the Dick Stone. Wow. Wow. You went there, man. Alright, just going with slightly thicker glaze now. Just to continue establishing that emerald colour a little bit more. I mean, we've all just basically decided that this Wraithlord is a guy. I mean, it certainly isn't necessarily just a dude. Proof in life that what goes around comes around. Be a cunt in life. Got heels on. Yeah, but dude, I mean, Bowie wore heels on occasion. So again, keep going with the glaze. And this is why, guys, using an airbrush is so much quicker than anything else that you can do with a brush. Because if this was just using an airbrush, it would be done by now. God, it'd be so done by now. But, like I said earlier on, can't use it for everything. I mean, I'm good enough with an airbrush, I can use it for most things now. Not quite just edge highlighting, but I can. So Miniac and Jazza, who I've not seen before on YouTube, did a video where they painted a Mini using only an airbrush in only 3 hours, and it had to be a 75mm display Mini. I reckon I could give that a go at some point and do alright at least. So we might do that on a stream coming up at some point in future, but because it's a stream, it might have to be like 4 hours, because obviously your stream time, you're kind of interacting more than you're working sometimes. So just to sort of pad the time a little bit, to give me a little bit more time, because stream time. Might have to change that, but I'd definitely be down for doing a video like that. For all of you guys at home that have just got airbrushes, we could try and do some sort of group paint along, timed paint along. That'd be fun. There you go. So that's starting to build up now. Look at that colour shift. It's looking good. Do it. I actually thought you would do better. I didn't mind Scott's Mini, actually. Apart from fucking blood on that axe. Like, just in general, don't do that shit. Secondly, really don't do that shit. Not like that. That's a bad way to go. It's a bad way to go. Just tried using 45 psi, love it. Super high pressure, man. Learn that control, get it down over time, keep the pressure up. That's the way to airbrush as far as I'm concerned. Having that ability to call on the pressure when you want it is so clutch. Yeah, we could do a community paint along. Obviously, we've got a lot going on right now. We've got the Nurgle Demon Marathon stream this time next week. I'll either be insane or possibly on MDMA to keep going at the right speed. Hopefully neither. It's going to be a hell of a weekend, though. An entire Nurgle Demon army. 118 minis. And no, I can't think of anything to round it up to 120 without using the characters that I want to spend time over. Have no more little Nurgly guys. We have no more Nurglings for bases. We're stuck at 118. We've even got 4 Poxbringers in there to get it to 118. Never thought I'd hear the word clutch in associating with painting Warhammer. Fair. I was at the stage where I need to pull back and push down the trigger. Brilliant. Brilliant. Plague drones. I can't use the plague drones because those are being converted into a Demon Prince. And yes, I may need all 6 of them. I nearly won 3 more on eBay though, so we could have used those and dropped a Plaguebringer. That would have been good. So Fish, here's what you need to do, mate. All about those glazes. Learn some old school tricks. Doesn't always need to be the air rush. Right, next step. Here's where we run the risk of it going really wrong. Taking some bone. Gonna mix that in. What this is gonna do is it's gonna brighten every part of our glaze. Which means if we put this on wrong, we'll end up with a really chalky finish. The guys on the drones are instead on the frogs. So we have toads with riders for the, I've forgotten what they're called, but some Nurgle play toad riders, I guess. Past that I couldn't tell you, mate, sorry. But those are super cool. And they're really good. And that unit of 6 is 408 points or something like that with the banner and the musician. It's crazy, crazy expensive. But if I got the Great Unclean one with the bell on a 4+, he brings one of them back to life after they've died with full wounds. And they've got 6 wounds, 5 up invuln, 5 up feel no pain. I think they're at -1 to hit. They're reasonably tough. Right, this glaze, like I was saying, if we get this wrong, we could ruin the whole gun. Because we're now working in some white. It's an off-white with the bone colour. And this has the potential to become very chalky. So, need to apply it carefully. Certainly for the first few layers. And just build up some of that. Also, if we thin it too much and separate it from the medium. Smithy, peace out, dude. Hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday night. Take it easy, man. Yeah, if we separate it from the medium, if we cause the paint to split, especially because we're using these very pastel tones now, that can be very difficult to fix. Slightly too thick. Just thin that down just a tad. And then blend that in. So what I did there to fix that was to add a little bit of water to the mix I had on the brush. And just play around with the paint a little bit. It's not really wet blending. A lot of people call wet blending, or call stuff wet blending when it really isn't. So the paint's still wet, so I'm wet blending. Yeah, not really. Right. Here's where we're going to need to rely on the hairdryer a little bit. This will take a little bit longer to dry than I want to. So just work a little at the back here, allow that to have a chance to cure naturally a little bit, and then we get the hairdryer out and give it a damn good blast so we can continue going. We are going to need to get this glaze laid down. Hit the shadows on the missile exit bits, whatever they'd be called. Firing tubes, I guess, for a missile launcher. Looking forward to Plague Marines with toughness 6, 5++, with 4+ DR with buff grenades. So I tried to explain this to Ben. What you need, and I mean need, is the Spartan assault tank. Because it has a transport capacity of 25. So those 25 things inside are 20 Death Guard with Plague Knives and Plague Axes. The guy that buffs your grenades, whose name I can never remember. 3 of the Smelly Flamer dudes. and a Chaos Lord or similar with reroll 1s to hit. Then outside the tank, running at full fucking pelt up the battlefield, is the dude that for 1 CP gives the Spartan a 5-up invulnerable save to go alongside its toughness 8, 2-up armor save, and about 18 wounds. So that thing can keep moving forward, firing its twin, because it's 2 sets, twin quad las cannons. Twin quad las cannons. 8 las cannons a turn, plus 2 heavy bolters, plus, fuck it, we'll give it a flamer as well. So first turn, that goes piling up the battlefield and puts 8 las cannon shots into whatever can kill it. Because 8 las cannon shots hitting on 3s will do a fair amount of damage, right? Then the turn after that, those 25 dudes inside, the 3 guys with the smelly flamers advance out. The 20 Plague Marines get out 3. So the tanks move 10. They can then get out 3 past the front of that tank. You started, we'll call it 10 on, assuming there's still 24-inch no man's land. So that's gone 23 inches to the back of their 32mm base. So that's 24 inches. Then you move 5. It's 29 inches. Then you use the strat to double the range of their grenades. That puts you to be able to hit something 41 inches away from your side of the table with 20 D6 shots. That against anything with 11 or more models in a unit gets maximum number of hits. And then if that doesn't do the job, the 3 guys with the super fucking flamers of Nurgle Death will just deal with it. Mastodon? No, man. You want the Spartan. Because it looks fucking epic as well. Rule of cool, man. Right there. So good. The Astraeus is horribly overcosted and had 1 viable build, which is because of its void shields. And then they nerfed that. They stopped it from working with void shields. So basically you could buff saves on stuff. And the void shield was being treated as a saving throw you could buff until they FAQ'd it out. Because you were getting that ignoring damage on a 3++, basically. And then you had what's his face? Feros running along behind it, constantly mending it, and it was a hell of a thing to kill. It was damn near impossible to kill. Those guns, the accelerator autocannons or whatever they are properly good. Cakefist, you hate Death Guard in 40k. Mate, if it wasn't for the fact that I played Knights, if you take my wins and losses out of the competitive ITC rankings this year, Knights would be the worst faction in 40k. Because my scores are in there, the current worst faction in 40k is Death Guard, with a win rate of 30%. 30%. Currently, Knights have I think it's 30.83% or something. Currently, Knights have got a 48% win rate. If you remove my games, we go down to a 30.5-ish% win rate. They're so bad right now. But with 9th. Oh, and here's the thing, guys. So I've been thinking long and hard about terrain. You know how everyone's bitching about terrain? Like, oh, I've got a knight that's behind a wall. And, you can't see me, but I can see you. And you're a fucking warlord titan, and you can't see over the wall. Right? That's fine. That's totally fine. Do you know why it's fine? Because I realised today one thing. Currently, in 9th edition, it looks like you interact with cover by touching it. And if you are in cover... the obscured rule doesn't count. If you're the other side of it, you can't shoot through it. But if you're in it, you can shoot out of it. So I just need my knight to touch the building you're in. Gatling cannon go burr. Minuses to hit for Tau is tough. And with Death Guard, you can stack a couple. Not to mention, you've also got Cloud of Fly strat. So I get why things are tough for you, mate. I do. I do. Can I ask what you're running as Tau? Because there are certain things that you can do to help mitigate that. Now I have a Tau army I started and have yet to get around to. Still intend to get them done though. I love the Tau models, especially the suits. I think the suits are amazing. And come 9th, when the way you construct your army has changed a lot, I reckon we can get a good Tau army out without needing a load of foot troops. Necrons in 9th are going to be really strong, because GW is going to want to sell a load of Necrons. That's kind of it. They're going to be about the same in 9th as they were at the end of 6th, start of 7th, I think, when Necrons were the tournament players' army. May feel hard to believe, but the Necron Decurion, which is what a formation was called back then. Holy shit balls, that was crazy strong. 25 models, man. Did you doubt me and had to go and look me up? Fish. That's it, mate. We're not friends anymore. I'm going to stop painting this, and I'm going to keep it. It's mine now. It's not yours. Tough. Yes, it does also eat models. And that's why you need 20 Plague Marines in there, as well as the other stuff. Because on a roll of a 1, it'll eat somebody. And with 25 guys inside, you're likely to lose 4. With a CP reroll, probably lose 3. But it doesn't matter, dude. Because think about it this way. If you put a big blob of 20 guys on the table, you'd lose more than 3 before they got in grenade range. If you put them in a Charybdis drop pod, you've got to buy one of those fucking things at 160 quid. And whilst it's cool on the table, I do genuinely like the Charybdis. I think it's a very, very good unit that goes unnoticed. It's not as good as the Spartan. But yeah, Necrons are going to be absolutely epic. Because they can sell. And they will sell. There's so many people that are, and I'm not going to say power gamers, because that feels disingenuous and a little unfair, but there's so many people that wouldn't have even considered a Necron army at all, regardless of the look of the models. I'm going to throw that out there. But from a standpoint of, I want to win games, and although all I care about is winning games, so many people would not have considered the Necron army until a couple of weeks ago. They did ruin assault vehicles, yeah. Because the Charybdis has got the melter jets on it, or whatever they're called. And they're pretty solid. Right. Time to get some little highlights going on. So it's not a glaze anymore. Just using some tiny highlights. Little specular highlight on the not a gem. Little highlight there on the back of the missile launcher. And see how sharpening up the edges that we've got now. Let's hit that one. Another little dab. Just there. Dude, I'm telling you, the Spartan, it's a lot of points. But it's just so cool. Right, and do the underside of each of these that require a highlight and the back line. Look at that one there, and look at it on the other side. Yeah, it looks flat. Now it looks something. Let me think. I'm around 2 battalions, 6 groups of fire warriors, 2 riptides, 1 broadside. Is that 1 broadside, as in like 1 singular? 6 bodyguard battle suits, cadre fireblade for that added fire for resting drones. What sept were you? Okay. Swimming for 90, you run a full destroyer army. You can almost certainly run a full Canoptech army. What gives you 5 over? So you're playing Tau Sept. Okay. So, couple of things. The first one, and I say this purely from a competitive standpoint, alright? I play a lot of competitive 40k. Even my practice games, most of the time, I'm going to do the top line on these because the bottom one would be in shadow too much. The majority of the time I play a practice game, it is for a tournament, for either me or my opponent to go to. So, you know, just from a position of only trying to bury your opponent's army is what I say this from. Running a single broadside is not a good idea, because it's no good, especially if it had a rail cannon. It's fucking terrible, in fact. If it had missiles, then running a unit of 3 with 2 riptides is totally fine. And the missile one is by far the best because of volume of shots. If you're running commanders, did they have cyclic ion blasters? Like minimum 3. Because that, I think, is a slightly better way of running them than fusion. You can't put them on a Cold Star battlesuit at that point. Has to be an enforcer, really. But Cold Stars can't have all the fun. You did fusion. Okay. There's a place for it on Cold Stars because you've got the maneuverability. There's a use for it, certainly. And in Nightfall, we've got probably a much more vehicle-heavy meta due to the way that vehicles are going to get their buffs soon. Right, there you go. Missile pod finished off. Let's get the highlights on the rest of the missile launcher now, and then that part is done. We've got about 15 minutes or so before we go into the whip, and we're going to rattle through the whip tonight, guys, because, like I said, I've got to paint another, base another 28 odd Nurgle Dart, guys. But Tau, going back to Tau, how many drones did you have? Because against Death Guard, that doesn't necessarily matter. But I know a lot of people that will play too many drones, and that stops the rest of your army list from getting the legs it needs. Were your Riptides armed with the burst cannon? Because if they weren't, it's very questionable, even with the relic, whether it's any good or not. 20-ish, I think it's been a long time. Oh, okay, if it's been a while, don't worry about specifics then. But what we'll do is, just in general, Tau should absolutely smash Death Guard. Your Riptides are your heavy lifting guys in the army. And there are 2 ways of playing your Riptide. You can either play them to be the absolutely unkillable, indestructible Riptide with a 3 invulnerable save every turn. which is my preferred way of playing with them. I think that playing defensively and making your opponent have to overcommit to get something down is usually the better play. So I'd normally do that. I'd maybe branch and overcharge one, just so that we ended up with having the extra shots going out from the gun. But normally I'd run with a 3-up roll. Here to tell you a very good 40k player. So there's a trophy, and it's this one right here. This little glass trophy with a white dot in it. That is the trophy for the best knight player in the world for last ITC season. I love my Stompy boys. They're amazing. Realistically, you should do okay. Target priority is probably what it came down to with the list that you've got. I'd probably drop the bodyguard battle suits because they're not ideal. There are just better ways of spending the points. Now, the one exception to that is if you run a Farsight Enclaves army, where instead of buying the unit entry of bodyguards, you use the strat to get bodyguards. Because at that point, those bodyguards with Marker Light support will hit on 2s. And then it gets interesting. Really, really interesting. Rich Siegler, who is arguably the best 40k player in the world, has been running Tau Farsight Enclaves in a list that's very similar to the one that I wrote, which unfortunately, as we've discussed already, have not yet put together, but will change come 9th, so it's not a bad thing. My Tau list was a Sasea Detachment Battalion, a Farsight Battalion, and a Farsight Spearhead, I think, for Riptides being heavy support. 3 Riptides in the Farsight Detachment, 2 Commanders in the Farsight Detachment, because it's Farsight Enclave, you get to take 2 per detachment, not just 1. Each Riptide had 2 drones, each Commander had 2 drones. No, the Riptides didn't have drones, so they get those fucking missile ones, which cost too many points. Then we had, in the Farsight Battalion, 2 Commanders, again, and 3 units of Fire Warriors, because it was just a case of, I want the Commanders, and I want the command points, not I want some more Fire Warriors. And that was it, Bare Bones Battalion. Then, and this is the sneaky part, in the Sasea Detachment, which was the battalion as well, that was where all of my drones went. No, it wasn't, sorry. All the drones went in the Farsight Battalion as fast attack choices. But the reason you take a Sasea Detachment is, 1, you get the strap for the Marker Light Bombardment, the sort of orbital Marker Light Blast, whatever it's called. But you also can put an Ethereal in there. As soon as you put an Ethereal in your army, it means you don't have to really worry about morale. And you never have to worry about morale on very small units of drones. So when you're taking units of 2 drones, if one of them runs, you can be in trouble. Just one drone dying, in fact, can cause you to accidentally break on a 6 and lose another drone, which gives up things like an extra kill point for a turn, gives up things like Butcher's Bill very easily, even more so than Tau normally do. So you need the Ethereal. So by taking a Sasea Detachment and not a Farsight Detachment, you can put an Ethereal in. You'd argue very much so that it is not an army based in the fluff at that point. They would never work together, but that's not what we're aiming for here. And that means you end up with Triptide, 4 commanders, 2 with cyclic, 2 with fusion on the Coalstar. Somewhere in the region of 40 drones, a double battalion's worth of fire warriors to get out and grab you objective points on the table and all that sort of stuff. And you start the game with 14 CP, which is solid. Wedge! What up, dude? So that was the tower army I was going to run. Siegler's changed that a little bit with his. He runs a Crisis Bodyguard bomb for the far sight with the airburst fragmentation launchers. I think they're called. He swears by them. And the Art of War did a bat rep with him and Nick Nanavati, where Rich absolutely took him to town. However, Nick was playing Tyranids, and so it was kind of a gimme game. Everyone kind of knew that was what was going to happen, but it really showcased the power of that tower army. So that's what I'd go with, man. I'd drop that Crisis Bodyguard blob that you've got, chuck in a 3rd Riptide because they're amazing, or drop those Crisis Bodyguards for a couple of missile broadsides. Get us a Saya detachment in there just for the CP, for the strat. And you can stay as Tau for the rest, that's fine. But you need marker lights, so a couple of marksmen, like Firesight marksmen, they'd be good. And that, as soon as you get the marker lights down, whether it's through the strat or however, that really helps mitigate the -1. If you end up going back to hitting on 4s, it's okay. If you're hitting on 5s, it sucks. Was Nick sober in full tournament mode? I have met Nick when he's in full tournament mode at the LGT, because he was hanging out with the Hellstorm crew, and I was there on the Friday night and had food poisoning Saturday and Sunday, which was an absolutely unfun thing to have when you just drove several hours for a tournament that you were really looking forward to. But Nick was sober, or at least not in full tournament mode. It was a stream game, it wasn't an event game. So, yeah, as soon as you start hitting on 5s, it's rough. Fish, awesome, dude. We're going to get this guy finished in the next couple of minutes, 5 minutes. Going to go into the whip straight after, and apologies, guys, we will be rattling through the whip because I've still got a base. Nearly 30 Nurgle Demons before I go to bed tonight. So, exclamation point Discord, go get yourself into the Discord channel. Go to the work in progress gallery and upload some pics of what you've been working on. It can be something you just finished. It can be something you're just about to start. Anything you want. No more than 3. And remember tonight, guys, we are going to rattle through it. So if we don't spend too long on a particular picture of yours, please don't be offended. But if you do want feedback, ask. I will give you proper feedback. We're not going to rush that. That's important. You say Nick plays fast and loose. The thing is, when you've played as many games of 40k as he has, and when you're playing against the right opponent that knows the game state, you know within sometimes half an hour of playing 40k who's won or lost. And I will always hang in there to the bitter end, because not even necessarily thinking, right, I can get a win, but it's, alright, cool, so I've lost this game, I'm out of the event, but I'm going to play for second. Fuck everyone else. If I can't come in first, I'll come in second. Those prizes are mine. I want the trophy. I want the whatever the prize is. So I'll always try and score as many points as I can in the game to get second place in an event if it comes to it. And sometimes you get lucky. The majority of the time you don't. Like, against really good players that do everything that we can to try and take luck out of the equation. I said we as if I count myself amongst them. I kind of don't. I play one army really, really fucking well, and that's kind of it. But against really good players, you not only need the luck to be on your side, you need to be against them as well. You need them to have bad luck at the same point that you have good luck. Otherwise, it ain't happening. And before everyone says, oh, but it's a game, you roll dice. If it was just based on luck, the same people wouldn't win every event they go to. I've been listening the whole time playing GTA 5 RP as a psycho. Brilliant. We're doing great, man. How's GTA going? ITC points gathering mode. Tom Layton always sings the praises of ITCWC for the way you can choose your secondaries. Yeah, man. And that's the best thing. Like, Tom, I love Tom. Really good guy. We've spoken at a lot of events. We talk semi-infrequently. Through WhatsApp. Great dude. He is one of the more cerebral people in 40k. For Tom, having the plan and making the correct decisions pre-game is the most important thing. And then making sure that you don't do stupid shit because the numbers might work out in your favour, you know, is another. Tom is very much a mechanical player. We played at Into the Hellstorm 2. And I very nearly had an opportunity to take the game out of his hands, but he went first with Eldar, Shining Spears into my Knights. And my Knights had one assassin. Was it 3 assassins? 3 assassins. It was 2 Crusaders and a Castellan plus 3 assassins. And goddamn, that was close. He nearly lost it by being just too close to an Eversaw. About that far away from an Eversaw with his Shining Spears. And if he'd piled in to tag him as well, to try and wrap him in combat, I'd have used a strat to make the Spears fight last. And then ripped them to fucking shreds if he had. Oh, not Eversaw, sorry, Calidus. Calidus Assassin. Because with a Knight stamping on him, as well as that, that's going to be game over for a unit of Spears. They certainly won't drop a 28 wound Knight at that point. But yeah, having to choose your secondaries is what makes ITC so good. The fact that GW rulebook missions have now been written by Mike Brandt with clearly some assistance from Reese and Frankie means that we're all playing cool as fuck missions. Oh, happy days. Right, this guy's done. We were going to do a bit on his base, but it is past that time. Finished his gun. Fucking hell. Look at that missile launcher. This is exactly what we wanted. Let's zoom out just a tad. No, I don't have a link to that back rep. You can find it on the Art of War Twitch channel or YouTube channel, I think. So, what we wanted to do all the way through this mini is work with a very, very limited colour palette. We've used the same blues and greens on the base, the guns, even the helmet. This shade here is the highlight colour we've used for every part of those blues. Everything else stayed red. We even used a slightly different red, glazed in some purples and some pinks to change the colour of that sash, to make the red of this guy and the white of that helmet the absolute reddest and whitest they could be by comparison. Like, we've managed to fix the camera quite substantially. We've got some really, really good output right now. It's very realistic. But it's not quite picking up all the bits of the red. When I get some proper photos of this, put up on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, it's going to look so banging. Big fan. Love this guy. But I'm tired AF. I've got about an hour's work left to do. So it's time to whip it out. Before we go into the whip, exclamation point YouTube. Please go and give me a sub so they can change the URL of the YouTube channel from the gibberish they give you to a real thing. Once we've done that, I can start promoting it on Instagram, on Facebook, and so on. But I don't want to do so until we've got a real link. Exclamation point Necron and exclamation point Marine. We're going to be painting an entire model. God, I had to really think about my words there. From the new 40k box set on the weekend of release from each faction. So go and choose from the poll one Necron mini and one Marine mini. When we've worked out which ones we're going to paint, we're going to put up new polls for which chapter, which Canoptech style sept, whatever it is that they're called, we're going to paint them as. On the weekend, we will sell raffle tickets. The winner will get to choose whether they want the painted Necron or the painted Marine. And not only will they get that mini, they will get the rest of that faction brand new on sprue, sent out to them wherever in the world they may be, completely free. The second winner will get the other of those two factions, both the unpainted stuff and the Marine, Necron Warrior, whatever it is that we've painted, all for free. It's going to be epic. I say for free. You've got to buy raffle tickets, so, you know, kind of isn't for free if we think about it that way. But that's happening on 9th release weekend. And dear God, I hope I can get that box the night before, because I really fucking need to get those models built. We will not have time to build them and paint them all in a weekend otherwise. Exclamation point mystery and win for the giveaways for this month. So far, you know you could get Ragnar Blacknate, the Wraithlord, the big bad wolf himself, painted up in a colour scheme of your choice, or a GSC Abominant. Alternatively, you could choose what's in the mystery box. That mystery box will be unveiled next weekend during our Nurgle Demon-a-thon. We've got 30 Plague Bearers here, 60 Plague Bearers up there, Beasts of Nurgle, Nurglings, characters. There are 118 models to paint in this Nurgle Demon army. We will start at 10 AM Saturday morning. We will finish when we finish applying the gloss varnish on Saturday night, and it will start again on Sunday until we are finished. I am going to paint a 1,850 point Nurgle Demon army in the space of a weekend, and we're going to paint them yellow. We're going to paint the entire army yellow, and we're going to do Nurgle's Garden bases using actual real plants and water effects. It's going to be an epic army when it's done. But now, let's go into the whip. Let's see what we've got. Exclamation point Discord. Head on over there. Go to the work in progress gallery. Upload some photos of your stuff. We'll start off, as is tradition, crazy anked. 2 repulsor tanks. Are they both executioners? Looks like it. Yeah, tail guns, 2 executioners. Very nice, dude. Very nice. On the OSL you've got on the headlights, I think you've gone a little too heavy. We talk a lot about the ways that light gets emitted in rays. Does it go round corners? So you've got the headlights, and you've got that first bit that slumps down, and then you've got a drop, and the next bit that goes down, right? There's no way that straight after that drop, this bit would be blue. Cool. The only way to paint the headlights with a big glow, I think, is to just wind it back. Otherwise, you end up with this weird, like, yellow bit, or green bit, or red bit, or whatever, between the blue there and the blue there that would actually be there. So it's tough. But I like it, mate. Great job. The fact you've smashed out this many Imperial Fists as well this quickly is crazy. Crazy. God, I hope I can paint yellow at least this fast next week. Bit different early whip. Nice. Some traditional art. Weird modeler painters would call this freehand. Everyone else just calls it art. Greg, what frog tape messed up front and center? Yeah, okay. That's not good, man. I've never used frog tape, but Tamiya tape is my absolute go-to. I use it a lot. And I've painted more hazard stripes than most other people. So I definitely would look at that. They're done on the suit now. Got a wash and edge highlight. Nice, mate. I love how you've captured all the little details, even the little bits on the inside of the shoulder pad and so on. Liking it. What you could do, now you've got your airbrush, before you go into the wash and highlight stage, just quickly airbrush in a few fades. Get some washes in the airbrush, some darker blues, and just get them into some of the areas so you've got a nice transition on the panels. A little bit more of an advanced technique with it, I appreciate. Might want to get a bit more practice in first, but certainly that's something you could do. Butt shot. Gotta love the butt shot. Nice, mate. Sons of Rolo. It's something that I've not seen before. I'm new to the hobby, so I'm happy with the quality. It's the best thing to do at the moment. Tonight I finished my first model of my new colour scheme. What's your thoughts? Does it need more colour? And the tattoo is bad, I know. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say, and I say this to everyone, is paint your base rim black. I don't care what else is going on with the model. The base rim is black. And the reason it's black is because it puts a border at the bottom of the model. So when people look at the model, they're not looking at any part of the base rim. They're looking at what you've put down on top of that base. So in this case, they immediately will look at the grassy, sort of snowy, icy tundra. Then the model. So get some black paint, maybe 2 coats, rim that, sorted. Every model needs a good rim job. In terms of the grey, I like it. You've got some highlights that are tidy, you've got some shadows that are quite tidy. The green stands out against it, and the red and black on the shoulder pad look cool. It's even a pretty straight line across there as well, so good stuff. The tubes, you've got like the cables that go from the hammer to the forearm. I'd probably pick those out in a different colour. But I'd use a very, very neutral colour, so I'd probably go with just black. There you go, front of him. Let's have a quick look at this tattoo. It's not terrible, man. Like, I don't want to give you shit for it. If you've gone for a tattoo that was blue, like a woad tattoo, it's kind of good. Yeah. If you've gone for a tattoo that's like a normal tattoo, you want to go darker, and then you want to glaze flesh tones back over it so it fades it into the skin. Like when something like this is first put on, it is black. Really dark, and then as your skin grows back over the top of it, it just fades out a little bit. And to do that on a model, you would paint the tattoo usually in a darker blue, then you get some flesh tones and just carefully glaze those over very gently, build up a little bit of that flesh growing back over the ink. So I don't mind it. You've dry brushed the hair, which I'm not a fan of, and you've dry brushed the metallics as well, potentially. But that's cool. You've just started out, you're on your way. Overall, mate, I like it. I think your colour choices have been done very well. I like that it is, I won't say plain, but you've he's got grey armour, and that's what you've done. Today I learned my tats never look right. Well, sorry, Chief. Yeah, I think he's good. Just keep doing it, mate. You'll refine your technique. You slim down some of your highlights a little bit. And please don't dry his hair, because it looks like he's... It looks like he's got like a handful of flour and like whopped over his mohawk. So... But good stuff, mate. Very good for an early hobbyist. Some potato cam shots of some actual whip, a wonky boat, sculpted water waves on the base of the black base rim. Yes, black base rim, see? Nice. This is the old Empire kit. Fucking hell. I haven't seen one of these in like 20 years. Crazy. There you go. Look at that black base rim. You don't even notice it. It's a black line that's kind of not there. You don't register it. You just look at the green and the blue and the rocks and the surf. I say green. That's clearly sand. Bad lights. Nice work, mate. Crownblade, more terrain, and some orcs for mate's kill team. Again, mate, you are smashing this out. Is the cross on top of that finished? Because that looks like it could do with a little bit of work. And if you wanted to, the big gold skull that's there, you could start working up a patina on. Get some blues, get some greens, turquoises, teals, that kind of thing. Just gently start working in a few sort of highlights, a little bit of shadow, sometimes around the like orbital, the nose, in between the teeth. Those sort of areas are great for a patina on a gold skull. You could do the same on this statue. In fact, it's quite nice as it is. I quite like the colour for it. But if you just wanted to add that extra little bit, you'd be good to go. Still working on it? All good. They're very clean models though, mate. I like them. Sith, Space Wolf is done. This is my new whip. This is an anime-ish character, I guess. On a base full of cogs. It's a fox person. No, I sort of hair and base tomorrow. Thanks for the input. My pleasure, man. Thank you for sharing your model in the whip. That's the best thing. It's cool, dude. I have no idea what it is, but it looks cool. And here's some orcs for the kill team. Nice. Yeah, I can't fault those. Skin looks good. I'd go darker with your recesses on things like the grenades, the axe and stuff like that. Just get the shadows in there a little bit harder. So it just becomes a bit of a pin wash to do to get in there. So that's what I would go with. That's and there's loads of sanding and assembly tonight. I love these tanks. Absolutely love them. Oh, I so nearly bought one of those on more than one occasion. It does come normal too, the fox person. Oh, I see. Okay. I kind of liked it, dude. It's good. Good luck with the painting. Anime painting's kind of weird because everything needs to look crazily smooth, but it always looks awesome. So nice. Good luck with that, Des. Keep going, dude. Oh, here we go. Got some airbrush work going down. Very cool. And the last one, lots of models all on the go. Here we go. So Voodoo Yaz. God, I've got to base these fucking Nurgle dudes and I'm hanging out my ass now already. Got some Scarab Occult Terminators going on. Got some Marine Jumpy dudes going on. And some Marine Fat dudes going on. That's a lot to be painting, son. There's a lot to be painting. Des, I love that fucking thing. And those autocannons are solid as well. They're really, really good. So nice, mate. Yaz, keep it going, son. You got this. Get them Marines done. Get them Scarab Occult done. You'll be fine. So here we go. That is the end of the stream. Sleepless the week. Mate, I've got an hour's worth of work to do. I started actual office work this morning at 7:30. So, right there, buddy. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. This guy is done, though. Finally fully finished, apart from, of course, actually getting a proper black base rim down. Got to be done. Got to be done. And a varnish. Fish. We'll get some proper photos of that taken in the next couple of days. Then it'll be on its way to you. I know you've gone to bed, but hopefully you're watching this back on YouTube. Speaking of which, please go subscribe. Not blue. Fuck no. Black base rim. Every time. Don't forget, we've got Necron models and Marine models we need to choose. So go vote on those. End of the month, we've got the mystery giveaway, the £50 hobby voucher giveaway. I can barely speak. It's time to raid. Let's go find a person on Twitch. My God. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you've made it to this part of the video, how in God's name have you done that for a start? Secondly, thank you very much. Thirdly, come hang out on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mohawkminiatures. Come join in the crazy fun. Right, it is 20 to 12. Let's go raid Studio J7. Why not? Super Smiley, thank you for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you can tune in next time because we're about to wrap this up. When we get to Studio J7 stream, I want emotes being thrown out like confetti. All the meep images. It's got to be done. We will see you next tomorrow night for the Hellstorm hobby stream with Mikey and myself, where I'll be laying down the foundation of some cool purple for OSL. And then Tuesday, right here, we'll be doing some purple OSL. Peace out, everyone. We'll see you then.